home is still there.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. The Palisades is on fire.
Yeah.
My friend Tom Segura, his house is gone.
Yeah.
It was where he used to live. He sold it, luckily.
Yeah, I have a
Moved
son.
out here.
He's in the sort of volunteer fire brigade, Milo. I call him the mayor of Malibu. And he's running around. And I asked him, how's things looking there, Milo? He says, not good, Pops. He says, your neighborhood. And he sent me a video of my neighborhood, and it's in flames. It looks like an inferno. So, yeah.
Do you think this will get you out of California finally?
Yeah, maybe.
Where are you going to go?
Oh, I don't know. I got a place in Costa Rica. I love it
Ooh,
there. Yeah.
Costa Rica's nice.
Yeah, I bought there many years ago. And
Yeah?
it's in a real nice spot. It's not too touristy or, dirt roads. So it's
nice.
Off the beaten.
Does it feel safe out there?
Pretty safe. I think, look, no place is safe. I mean, you've got the Darien down there,
What's that?
It's kind of in the, what's the next country down? Panama.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this no man's land where the Colombians come through, and it's like, all kinds of dirty dealings in the jungle with, who knows, drugs and mules and,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it can be dangerous, and I've heard of danger happening there. You hear about somebody getting chopped up by a machete. And Costa Rica is actually a cool place because it never had a culture of death like a lot of the Central American countries did. They have a culture of death, Even Mexico, I mean, they used to, tear people's hearts out and pyramids.
Aztecs.
All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Aztecs were like the Romans. The Mayans were like the Greeks, but they all sort of dabbled in some stuff. Costa Rica always had a policy where they it was like the Switzerland of Central America. They emphasized education and health, and everybody's literate, and it's kind of interesting in that way. But it deals with its own little troubles.
Yeah, well,
Like every country, corrupt.
Anywhere down in that part of the world is just like there's so much sketchy shit going on all around you.
Yeah, there can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, one has to be forearmed, all that, So I have a nice place down there.
Yeah, I have some friends that have a place in Mexico, and I'm always like, don't you ever worry?
Yeah, I worked in Mexico a couple of times. I was down there, and it was in Veracruz, and apparently, people were rolling heads into bars and stuff like that, rival gangs and stuff, and they said, I'd go for a walk, and they'd say, you're crazy going for a walk. You'll get kidnapped. I said, I'm not going to get kidnapped. I'm the guy that pays. You're going to get kidnapped, and I'm not going to pay your ransom. So it's like, I never felt insecure in that way. And, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If your number's up. I know I used to watch guys who do what I do for a living, and they'd have a phalanx of bodyguards around them, and like for security and stuff. And I used to have that stuff for a little while, but, it doesn't make any difference. You're going to be okay.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not, right?
Yeah.
Until you're not.
Until you're not.
And everybody's going to be okay until they're not.
Yeah. I got in a dodgy situation one night, and I acted crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What happened?
If you act crazy, everybody leaves you alone.
Especially if you are a little crazy. If
Well,
they know that.
You're in a stress mode, so you actually get angry. If I feel like I'm threatened, I get angry, which is what happens. And then you get really in people's faces, and they think, this guy's crazy. But all the old cultures thought that, like when there were people traveling across the Great Plains to go west, if you acted nuts, they'd leave you alone because they didn't want your evil spirits.
Oh. So what happened with you?
Oh, nothing. They left me alone.
But where was this?
Oh, man, I was in a bad neighborhood. It was when I first got into L.A., and I was to go to dinner with Costa Gavras. He was a Greek director. I went the wrong way. And it was before they had, phones with all that stuff. So
A Thomas guide.
it was the Thomas guide. Anyway, I wasn't guided well by Thomas. I ended up in the wrong place. And then my muffler fell off. And I was driving a Mercedes, pretty nice sporty car, And I thought, and I had the wife in the car. And I pulled into a side street. The sun was going down. And as I got out of the car, I thought, I got to fix this muffler. I can't just drag it. People started coming from houses. And they came up to me, and I saw them coming in the rearview mirror. And I jumped out of the car and got in their face. And I said, "What the fuck do you want?" Because I felt threatened.
Right.
And and the guy said, "Man, I'm just looking for some money. You got any money?" So I was being mugged. And it was like, I thought, I'll think about it when I'm fucking finished, like, you know. And I opened the trunk. And this is the weird part, Joe. I will never quite understand this. I opened the trunk to see what I could find to help me put the muffler back on. And sitting there, the only two things in the back of the trunk was a pair of wire cutters and a coat hanger. It's exactly what I needed, and I don't know why it was there. That's weird, isn't it?
That's very weird. So
Very
you used the coat hanger to wire up your muffler?
Yep. I cut a piece of wire, wired the muffler up. The whole time, more guys are coming.
Jesus
And
Christ.
they're standing behind me, and I'm feeling like, oh. And anyway, I get up, I finish the muffler, slam, and I'm acting mad and crazy the whole time. And they think, this guy's nuts. And I get back to the car, and my wife gives me a handful of cash. And I thought, what's this? She says, it's just 5s and 1s. Give it to him. So I threw it and drove off. But it was like, it was looking hairy for a minute. And you never know.
What year was this?
Oh, my God.